to just kind of say, all right, we're going to start again next game. But they came out a bit rejuvenated in that second period, and they were able to hold off the Flyers in the third. So it was it's a good win from the Ducks' perspective. Flyers probably had an opportunity to get away from them a little bit.
Yeah, and it was a horrific start for the Ducks in this game, too. And the Flyers scored a minute 39 in on the Sanheim goal. Then they scored 2:28 in on Ronnie Attard's first NHL goal. And the Flyers are up 2-0, buzzing all over the net, unable to get anything else in the first period. But then they come back in the second. They get 3 goals from Milano, Zach Aston-Reese, then that power play goal from Trevor Zegras. Flyers get the game tied on Provorov's 8th of the season. But then Zegras just makes an unbelievable 360 pass. Like, he goes down below the goal line and does a full-blown 360 Denny Savard spinorama to get the puck to Troy Terry, who pots it by Martin Jones. That ends up being the game winner. He had a lot to say about this game, did Zegras.
Yeah, it was one of those situations, I think, there after the Flyers' third goal where this thing was going to go either way. And you almost felt like it was going to be, next goal wins. And, this is the kind of thing with Trevor Zegras that is the reason that he attracts so much attention around the NHL because of these highlight reel plays. I mean, he is in no man's land back here. He is being pretty much canceled out of the play behind the net, and somehow he figures out a way, to get it back in front.
Yeah, and it's a spinorama. It's like something you don't see.
Right. It's just, it is just another remarkable play here on his part. And
so it's a grand on the faceoff, and he kind of kicks it to Zegras, who's on the outside, but then it's just a spinorama move that he puts on York, and the pass is like right on the tape of Troy Terry.
Right.
You're not going to miss him there. He had 31 prior to that.
And you can kind of tell, I think, here that they've kind of worked on this. These guys know, I think, at this point that if Trevor Zegras is anywhere below the goal line, you get your ass to the front of the net and you get your stick on the ice because you don't know how it's going to get to you. It could be a spinorama. He could lift the puck up on the blade of his stick and bring it around himself. He had the one goal where he flipped it over the crossbar to Milano in front, and Sonny Milano whacks it out of midair. I mean, he can do literally anything once he's back there. And so that's again, you're looking at this situation, in the normal circumstances, Troy Terry bringing his puck stick on the ice because he doesn't think there's any way that puck is getting out.
Yeah, there's no delivery method.
Yeah,
to get the puck to him.
I tell you what, they know it at this point with this guy. So something to behold. And unfortunately, the Flyers are victims of it here tonight. But if you're an Anaheim fan, you got this guy on the team. There's good things ahead for him.
Boy, it's his 34th assist on the season. To go with what now, 20 goals?
Yes.
And his stuff is not, boring. It's not chalk. He's got, that assist is as exciting an assist as you'll see.
Right.
And he is just a flair for the dramatic player in his rookie season. What a hell of a pass that was, and great shot on the power play goal prior.
19th goal of the year.
19th, okay.
But 20 is coming pretty quick here.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So the Flyers go down 5-3. They're going to head out on the road coming up on Tuesday to take on Washington, and then back here Wednesday, if I recall, against the Rangers.
Yes,
right?
That's correct. National television on Wednesday.
Oh, okay, a little TNT
broadcast.
Rangers.
Yeah, TNT will be here, and Flyers Rangers doesn't get any better than that. Doesn't matter if one team's in, out, whatever. It's always brings out the best, I think, in both of these teams.
Well, the thing is, I was a little surprised to see Martin Jones get the start tonight. As much as I was surprised to see Carter Hart get the start last Saturday night. Because Hart had only come back. He was out a couple days with a nagging injury. Came back, had a short practice, and then he was in that game against the Leafs.
Right.
And so much so that when Steve Valiquette texted me on Saturday and said, Hart tomorrow against the Rangers, I said, I assumed so. I thought it would be Jones that night on Saturday against the Leafs, and Hart would get the Rangers. But it wasn't, and that's not the way it played out. And then obviously, Martin Jones gets the win on Thursday against Columbus. He gets the back-to-back start here tonight. And it's interesting, and the reason why I thought it was curious is because there's a back-to-back on Tuesday and Wednesday, so they're going to split that.
Yeah, there's 2 back-to-backs coming up here.
Yeah, Buffalo as well over the
Yeah.
weekend.
So that's kind of the way you would think that it would go. I don't know if there was something that played into it, just with the familiarity that Jones might have against this Anaheim team. But it's a lot of times we used to see that when the Flyers had two goaltenders that were kind of 1 and 1A. The better history against a given team usually might send that team out, send them out against that team. But I guess it is what it is tonight in terms of maybe getting Carter a little extra rest leading into Wednesday or to Tuesday. I don't know. We'll have to see. But it was again another game where I think that I don't think any of those goals you necessarily fault Martin Jones on, but I'm sure there's a couple there that he would have liked to see bounce different way.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And it's like I think I saw Ryan Elliott a couple of years ago. Had like a great record against somebody. I forget who it was.
Yeah.
Might have been Toronto. Even.
Right, and it's a mental thing, right? When you get that, I mean, obviously,
buildings,
especially when you're as old as Steve Coates, for instance, who's walking across the hallway. But when you're as experienced as Brian Elliott, you had a great record against the team 10 years ago. That doesn't really mean anything now. It's different people wearing the same jerseys, but I would imagine it's a mental thing. If you've been very, very good, for instance, against the Anaheim Ducks in your career, and you see that jersey over there, you might, from a goaltending standpoint, feel a little bit bigger on that given night, just because it's that logo over there, even though the people in it are different.
The funny thing is that 03 draft that Ryan Getzlaf is now retiring from was also the draft of Brian Elliott. So, one of the best drafts in the history of the NHL.
Yeah, that really was. That was the Jeff Carter or Mike Richards draft for the Flyers directly. Braden Coburn,
number 1 overall was Marc-Andre Fleury.
Remember the Canadian junior team after that draft?
Oh, it was ridiculous.
It was like an NHL All-Star team. Yeah. Like it looked like I think literally probably I don't know. That would have been 04, so maybe not 2 years later, but 4 years after that. I wouldn't have been surprised if Canada took that exact same roster and put it in the regular Olympics. Just from a standpoint of how talented that roster was. That was insane.
I mean, you look at the games played from players in that draft, and the amount of players over 1,000 games is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that's Bergeron, who was taken in the second round, as 1,200 games, or whether that's Shea Weber's over 1,000 games, Louis Eriksson over 1,000 games, also in the second round. And then the first round, 1,000-game performance. Corey Perry's at 1,165. Ryan Kessler played over 1,000. Brent Burns has played over 1,200. 1,150 for Getzlaf. He's retiring. 1,130 for Parise, still playing. 1,114 for Seabrook. 1,289 for Dustin Brown, still playing. Carter, still playing. 1,160. I mean, keep going here. Okay, Dion Phaneuf played over 1,000. Suter still playing over 1,000, 1,200 games. 1,000 more for Thomas Vanek, and 1,293 games for Eric Stahl. Not to mention 932 games played for a goaltender, Marc-Andre Fleury.
The thing that always blew my mind about this draft was now we're googling things, but all the guys in the first round of that draft, and then at 12, New York Rangers, one pick ahead of Dustin Brown, took Hugh Jessup 2 NHL games.
That's insane, right?
I just that would make me feel really bad.
He's the
if you missed in that draft.
Well, Jirda was taken 4th overall. Nikolai Jirda. I mean, he's skilled, but
he was skilled just as long as he's right up and down the middle.
Yeah.
It was. I think I told this story before.
Nate Thompson was in that draft, by the way.
Kid.
834 games.
I think I've told the story before, but the year after Zerdek left, Voracek came in and took 93, and it was really stunning to me to see 93 in the corners. I was not used to that at all.
Yeah.
A lot of people say the 2023 draft is going to be similar to this.
Yeah, this is the benchmark.
I feel like it's still a bit of a crapshoot just because of COVID and how it's affected the amateur ranks and stuff like that. But, Flyers got a 2024 pick in the Giroux deal because Florida didn't have a 2023, but you know what? Other teams have them. And, I can certainly see them packaging the 2024 in some kind of deal maybe that gets them into the higher in the first of 23. I don't know, but that draft there, the Flyers have, I believe, six picks, is it, in the first 3 rounds right now in 23? So we'll anticipate that. But that was a historic NHL draft right there.
Yeah, Pavelski taken, by the way, in the 7th round, 1,156.
Oh my goodness me! That doesn't happen. That is just kind of crazy.
All right, let's take a timeout. We're back with more from Wells Fargo Center East Food Hall. Brian Smith, Jason Martinez, postgame show. Back after this on the BetRivers.com Flyers Broadcast Network. The Mighty Ducks of Anaheim.
I'll just go ahead and say it.
Yeah. I've never even seen the movie, The Mighty Ducks.
Or I know I've seen parts of it. I don't know if I've seen it all the way through.
Yeah, I'm not really interested.
Yeah, I mean, it's a cute movie if you have your kids with you. It's not something you're going to take your date out to go see.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few hockey movies I like. I like, obviously,
Slapshot.
Slapshot is great. Youngblood is a good hockey movie, right? I like that one.
Yep.
But other than that, there's most hockey movies I don't like watching because most actors can't skate.
Right.
And they can't pull it off. So I don't. It just looks too goofy to me.
Yeah, that was the nice thing about Miracle. I didn't see that in Miracle. I thought they did that very well.
They did very well.
They cast a bunch of minor league players, I believe, in that movie. They did that. They did that extremely well. That was a well done flick.
Rob Lowe was not a great skater in Youngblood,
right?
But he at least had some hockey lineage. I actually played hockey against him and his brother.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, at the Spectrum.
Okay.
In I want to say 1986 or 87, they had this celebrity hockey showcase thing.
This is ringing a bell, so I think I've seen it. No, I don't remember it. I think I've seen it in our archives.
Yeah.
If
you have tape of that, that'd be great.
I don't think it's tape, but I think I've seen, I don't know, a program or something like that.
And we had a high school all-star game too, and we played. And MacGyver was there, and So Richard Dean Anderson's a good Canadian boy. And he didn't have any of his MacGyver tricks on the ice.
Okay.
But Chad Lowe was part of it as well. Alan Thicke.
Oh, yeah? That does ring a bell.
And how about Alex Trebek?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
He always enjoyed
quite the distinguished panel with yours truly.
He always enjoyed the hockey trivia that would show up on the show, didn't he?
Yeah, because he actually knew how to pronounce the names.
And then, usually, granted, I don't think.
What is tennis?
As smart as everybody that's ever been on Jeopardy, as much smarter as they are than me, I don't think a ton of them were hockey aficionados.
Pavel Bure played this sport. What is cricket?
You get a hockey question, and then none of them would just. I think there's a couple of clips on the internet that nobody would buzz in on the hockey question. He just looks at them like, really?
Yeah, seriously. Come on, people. Can we screen these people better to know a little bit about the sticks and pucks? So Tuesday, Flyers and the Caps. The Caps actually beat the Pens tonight. And then Wednesday, it's the Rangers, then the back-to-back with Buffalo, but a couple of Metro Division rivals, even though it's not really a rivalry situation. But things are tight in the Eastern Conference, so you can play a little bit into this playoff kind of seeding, if you will, because the Rangers they're 6 points up, but they're only 2 points back at Carolina for the top spot in the division. They've each played 72 games.
It is going to be a fascinating race down the stretch. That if you're a hockey fan, if you're not just a Flyers fan, but if you're a fan of hockey, and I recommend it, that you should pay attention to this because
I like the sport. I think it's got going places.
It's doing all right. Carolina, Rangers, Toronto, all dead on tied at 100 right now. Now, granted, the Toronto thing doesn't really enter into it too much unless they got to the conference finals against one of those two teams. But, Carolina and Rangers are going to go neck and neck this whole way, and the Flyers can go a long way to determining how that shakes out. I mean, right now, the difference between who gets that top seed is whether you get to play Pittsburgh or whether you get to play Washington. Granted, there's not a ton of difference between the two, but if I'm going to the playoffs right now, I would go ahead and pick Washington as my poison, just because things have been a little bulky there lately.
And goaltending.
Pittsburgh are going to come out in the playoffs, and you can't write them off ever. So it's going to be a good end of the season, and then the playoffs are always great. We were talking
rounds bananas.
Yeah, we were talking today. We had an event here with Eric Ross doing some Q&As with some fans over on the other side of the building from where we're at right now, and we asked them. One of the questions was, "What's your greatest memory of Philadelphia as a player?" And he said, "Without hesitation, playoffs." And the atmosphere around here when the playoffs roll around is second to none. And kind of what I followed up with after he answered was, "It's coming back soon." And I truly believe that. This year's been a fluke for me. Last year, again, COVID just. It's a write-off for me for COVID, and then this year's a fluke. I think this team is, based on what we've seen, especially in the last few weeks, I think this team is poised for a bounce back next year, and it's going to look different. There's going to be some additions in the offseason. I would say at least one big name coming in here, maybe two. We'll see how it goes. We'll see what deals happen at the draft. But
coaching,
there's going to be a whole lot that goes on here in the offseason that's going to be poised towards returning this team, back to relevance very quickly next year. And it's going to be back here for you.
That's amazing. 11 of the 32 coaches in the NHL right now either on an interim tag or in the final year of their deal.
Yeah.
Stunning.
I mean, that's
not to mention Claude Julien, not to mention coaches that are not employed right now.
Right.
Paul Maurice, other coaches out there that are available.
Yeah, it's really kind of interesting. I was talking with Jay Woodcroft about this when Edmonton was in here, and I kind of mentioned offhand to him. I said, I don't know where our coaching situation is going, but I was, I knew you were there. It'd be interesting. And he says, well, I don't even know where I'm going to Edmonton. It's the same deal, It's like it's just at the end of the year. I don't know why it's a fluky thing right now that everybody is on these, expiring / interim contracts, but it's poised to be a carousel that I don't think we've seen since a couple of years back when Trotz went from Washington after they won the Cup to the Island, and then there were a couple other guys that kind of just everybody switched spots.
Yeah,
and so sometimes that's what you need is a coach. I mean, the players sometimes need a new coach, sometimes coaches need a new environment, new players.
Yeah,
to go
it
out.
gets stale. Like Paul Maurice walked away because he knew that his message wasn't getting through anymore after he
Right.
in Winnipeg. And as a coach, you know that. There's nothing more frustrating. You tend to put your foot down heavier when that happens, and it has even a more pronounced effect of tune-out. So, all right, let's wrap things up. We're going to get home here, and we're going to do Flyers Daily for tomorrow, and we're going to do much more. So we'll be back Tuesday as the Flyers will take on the Washington Capitals on the road. We'll be here at Wells Fargo Center coming up Wednesday. Let's thank a few people. Let's start with our in-studio engineer, Mike Vito. On highlights tonight, Haley Simon was on the highlights. Brian Smith for Tim Saunders and Steve Coates as well. I'm Jason Martinez. You've been listening to Philadelphia Flyers Hockey on the BetRivers.com Flyers Broadcast Network. Good night, everybody.